right, trying a new video format where I do a screen recorder rather than point a camera at my iPad and just point at things, which was a little awkward, but apparently people are watching these videos, so I should make some kind of effort to up my production quality. So that being said, a gentleman by the name of David requested this video, so shout out to David. All right, so the questions involved character creation and spell selection, so we'll just go ahead and create ourselves a wizard. All right, so D&D Beyond, collections, my characters. I have a few here. But we'll just go right over here, create a character. If you're not subscribed to D&D Beyond, you'll have a limit on how many you can create, but you can do a couple of them. I think it's 3, so you'll be fine. All right, so we'll go for standard. You can also have the help tips if you want to go through it. I'm not going to bother, but all right. Character's name. You can throw whatever and come back to it. Nib giblets. This little thing is to make your character icon the picture. It's actually easier to do after the fact, after you've gone through everything else, because once you select erase, it will narrow down the photos. They have a bunch of suggested ones here. You can also go to your own photo files under choose file and upload whatever you want. So first, character sources. These are where you'll be pulling from which books you have access to in order to create your character. So this is something to ask your DM before you do it. Homebrew content, that's only if your DM has created specific stuff. Critical Role and Playtest, that's all only if your DM recommends it. Playtest is Unearthed Arcana, and they mess around with really neat ideas and try stuff before they put them in books or get rid of them entirely. Magic the Gathering and Eberron content are usually okay, and that's why they're automatically clicked on here. Rick and Morty did one book, and I'm not entirely sure what the non-core stuff is. But for now, just keep these two clicked unless your DM says otherwise. Enable dice rolling. There's a digital dice roller in D&D Beyond now, which is nice and easy to do some automatic math and some more complex stuff. Also, if you're too lazy or don't have any dice, or you're a brand new player, this is an easy way to just have literally everything you need. So make sure you do that. Optional class features. This is completely up to your DM. With the release of one of the more recent books, Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, you're allowed to change your class features to have any race have whatever specific bonuses or features you want. This is entirely up to your DM if they allow that or not. Most of this initial homepage is up to your DM's discretion. Advancement type, milestone versus XP. This is when you level up. Most of the module books are done milestone level. Some older DMs will do the XP style, so you pass a difficult check, you have a particularly good social interaction, you kill a monster, you'll be given XP for that, and then there are specific levels to hit to level up. Milestone is more narrative based. Most DMs nowadays tend to do milestone, completely up to your DM. Hit point type. This is also up to your DM. In old school D&D, you would roll dice every time you leveled up to determine how many hit points you have. It's automatically set to fix, which means it takes slightly above the average for the roll, so you're getting a good amount of hit points every time. Not the highest, not the lowest, but slightly above center. This is what most people are going to keep it as. This is, once again, up to your DM's discretion. I like to switch it to manual. It automatically does the fixed one anyways, but simply gives you the option to roll. But that is DM's choice. User prerequisites. Does your DM allow for feats or multi-class? Almost everyone allows for feats. It's a big part of 5th edition, 5e. Multi-classing, up to your DM. They might say yes or no. Keep this one on. Show level scaled spells. This is going to make it really easier, especially if you're a spellcaster, uh, to use, and I'll get into what this does a little later. Encumbrance and coin weight. This is once again up to your DM. If your DM is kind of a dick, he might do coin weight, and that weighs down your character a lot. Most will have encumbrance or variant encumbrance. There are different rules, but it's basically how much your character can carry before they start to get slowed down and have other penalties. It's tradition. The coin weight, it's up to your DM. Ability score modifiers. This is a personal thing. It shows your ability scores, so the 12, the 19, the 10 for intelligence, dexterity, and all that. And the modifier is the actual plus, what you add to the roll, +1, +2, +3. I like to keep it on top, and it's default because that's actually what you need. You don't roll that 11 you have for intelligence, or the 12 you have for intelligence, you roll the +1 that it gives. Character privacy, you can go ahead and set it to private. I normally don't mind, and I jump my characters in different games, so I keep it public. People could look up your character if they want. Your DM should have access to it. So if you keep it public, your DM, if you send them the link, can look at your character and sort of help you out and make sure you have the right stuff, and just check your inventory every now and again. It's a neat little DM trick, and by having it done through D&D Beyond Online, it doesn't disrupt the game. All right, so the next and one of the larger parts of character creation is selecting your race. Race is very anachronistic term, it's very old school. Species is probably the better option. You might not see exactly what I'm seeing. I have access to almost all the books, so I have access to more races. Depending on the books your DM is sharing with you, or if you're just doing a standard base game, you'll have different ones available. So we'll just go to basic rules. These are the very basic ones. Everyone will have access to it. Dragonborn, dwarf, elf, half elf, etc. So I'm going with the wizard. Now, there's a concept in D&D called min-maxing, which is sort of a video game-ish type thing, where all of your choices for race, class, spell selection, subclass, everything is geared towards getting the highest damage rolls, the highest number, making the best wizard possible, choosing one race over another because they have better stat boost for what you want to do. It is a way to play. Some people find it fun. Personally, I tend to go more narratively. What fun thing do I want to do? I'll open up to more larger rules. If I get an idea in my head or want to try something, I might do an orc, and they actually, did they get rid of that? They had a negative to intelligence before. Yeah, they might have gotten rid of that. But I might do a character race that is not traditionally associated with magic, or does not have, it's not known for having good wizards, like lizard folk. You don't really hear about lizard folk wizards, and none of their racial traits really help out at all with making a wizard. But I might want to make a lizard folk wizard and have him focus on ice magic. Why? Because I want to say lizard blizzard out loud at the table and see if I can make the other players laugh. And that's enough for me. That's how I want to play. Don't let anyone ever tell you your character creation choices are right or wrong. They might be suboptimal, but as long as you're having fun, don't let anyone tell you how to play pretend, or if you're playing pretend wrong. It's up to you what character you want, how you want to embody them, and how you want to work through them. Within the confines, as you're not making other players at the table uncomfortable, and not being a dickbag, because your character would be a dickbag. Don't play a dickbag character if you can't separate that. But otherwise, play how you want, do what you want. But we will go through the racial traits. So all of the races do have certain bonuses to their ability scores, like the lizard folk gets +2 to constitution, +1 to wisdom, and some of them have a few extra things. You can come down and sort of see. They have recommended alignments. You don't have to follow that. Size, not super important. Their movement speed. Here, one of the feats that the lizardman has is bite. They can do an unarmed strike with their bite, and the damage is listed here as 1d6 plus your strength modifier, which is a lot more than a normal unarmed strike. They have other actions. Cunning Artisan, they can make a couple things out of the scraps left behind by defeated enemies. They can hold their breath for a while. Natural armor, so if they're not wearing armor, they have a higher armor class, a higher AC than other races because they're scaled. And then the languages that they naturally speak. I'll go back to the basic rules. All of them are a bit like that. For the heck of it, Nib Giblet sounds like a halfling to me. There's two different types, and you can look at them to see. Halflings get lucky, so when you roll a 1 on your d20, you get to re-roll it. That's actually fairly helpful. A few other things. The Lightfoot and the Stout are a little bit different. The Stout has stout resistance, so that's advantage on saving throws against poison. And the Lightfoot is stealthier, they're easier to hide. Read through them, find one that has the traits and the interesting mechanics that you think you like, or just pick one that you think might be interesting, neat, or funny, and is a neat narrative way to explain it away. Like an orc wizard, orcs are not known for being intelligent or necessarily magical. So why did yours choose to go through the study and the effort to become a wizard? What's driving them? And that is a neat character concept that can push the narrative and the story further. So we will go with a Lightfoot halfling. There's the description of all their stuff. You can click on them to read a little bit more about exactly what they do. But we'll move on. Class. There's a bunch of different ones. Once again, mine might look a little bit different than yours, but we're going to go with the classic wizard for this guy because they're a little bit more complicated and we can discuss spell casting. So this brings up sort of a basic overview of the wizards and what they do. Hit dice, as I explained before, traditionally you roll dice every time you level up to get your HP, and it will be a dice roll plus your constitution modifier. So the wizard gets a d6. So every time they level up, they roll a d6 to see how much health they get. Some hardier classes, like the barbarian, will get bigger dice. They have a d12. So yeah. Primary ability is intelligence. That's, you want your wizard to have a high intelligence. Generally, low character rolls can be funny, but this is sort of if you want your wizard to be, if not necessarily optimal, but more functional, you want to focus a bit on intelligence. And the saves that you get bonuses on are intelligence and wisdom. And saves are a form of attack. So some attacks, you get the chance to save partial or all the damage against, and they have saves on intelligence and wisdom. So at 4th, 8th, 12th, 16th, 19th level, you get ability score improvement. If you have feats, you can choose between a feat or ability score improvement. And that is, ability score improvements is you get 2 points at these levels when you level up to put more into your ability scores. Ability score improvement. Dexterity, health, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, whatever. You could also take a feat. Feats are neat. They're kind of powerful. Some of them really change the game mechanics a lot and do some neat stuff. It's up to you, but this is just letting you know when. And it's important to remember these if you're multi-classing. I'm not going to get into too much of that right now, but if you're multi-classing, this is your wizard level, not your character level. So if you get a wizard to a 3rd level, and the next level you pick a level in sorcerer, you're not going to get the ability score improvement. That happens at the 4th wizard level. So every level, not only does your character level up, but you add another level of a class. So ignoring multi-class, it will just be straight wizard. But if you pick other ones, this will come into play, and that's something to talk to your DM about. So this just goes over what happens at each level, and so those are the ability score improvements. Spellcasting, the wizard is a spellcaster. This explains stuff a little bit more. That is a whole separate thing. Z. Bradshot, the animated spell book, does a way better job explaining spells and spell books and spell slots. I'll try and throw a few